Let's talk about eating habits. It's one of the things that I think confuses people the most when they jump into a plant-based lifestyle. Now, if you're contemplating vegetarian or vegan or even going to a plant-based diet, a lot of people tend to have the attitude of, I want to jump all in. I want to, go full force. I've learned about this new way of life and I'm going to completely overhaul my entire life. I'm going to completely do everything differently. And about a day or two, or maybe even an hour later, everything falls apart. Maybe a friend calls up and says, let's go out to dinner, or, you're faced with meal plans and you order the same items from the menu that you've always had, or you cook the very same foods that you've cooked for decades, years. And it tends to be something that falls apart very quickly when you move all in. Instead, what you should think of it as a habit that you can change one eating habit at a time. So instead of making massive change, what I always suggest is to make one change at a time. Now, years ago, when I first went on this journey, one of the things that I decided to do was to take away red meat from my diet, that I was no longer going to cook with red meat. And what that did is it allowed me to make changes slowly. So instead of using hamburger, ground beef, I started using things like turkey burger, or I found other alternatives to it. And once that kind of took place, then it allowed me to move to the next step. So that's what I would suggest for you is, if this is something you're going to do, you're going to go full force into plant-based eating, I would suggest that you take very small steps, one step at a time, make one change, turn it into a habit, and then you can go from there. Again, you can take a cue from me and go with eliminating red meat from your diet. Or maybe you go, with the Meatless Monday concept of, I'm no longer going to eat meat-based, plan a meat-based menu item for Monday for dinner. I'm going to change my attitude, change my habits, and do something else. Whatever you decide on, do something that you're comfortable with, that works for you, implement it, and make sure the change sticks before you move on to your very next habit.